welcome back to IT How To. This is the first video I've recorded in a few months. So what I would do is give you an overview of what I've been working on recently, and also maybe just show you my new home studio stroke home lab setup as well. So after the intro, I'll get back to you. Hi, so I'm ready to get started. So I've got this new setup here, my new home studio, and then I've got a corner desk. So I've got like on one side I've got a couple of monitors, and these two are connected to this mini PC, which is a B-Link GTR5, which is running with a Ryzen 9 5900HX processor. And it also has an iGPU, which is an AMD ATI. It came with 64 gig of DDR4 RAM, and I also asked for it to be installed with a 2 terabyte NVMe hard disk. Okay, now I went ahead and installed Ubuntu directly on top of it, so I will show you this via a screen capture in the next segment of the video. And I've also got an SSH connection set up to it on VS Code on my Mac Mini M1, and I use the Mac Mini M1 for my video editing and as a daily driver as well. Okay, so what you might see is the rest of the setup, and there's my webcam that's connected to my Mac Mini M1 in the bottom right there. And you can see, so I'm using OBS for the capture as well. Okay, so I'm ready to get started, and the next segment of the video you'll be seeing all these screens in a lot more clarity because I'll be doing screen capture via OBS. So see you soon. I'm now ready to get started. So I've just done a test run to run a Python script to create these virtual machines. So these are all virtual machines using QEMU, and what the Python script does, it will read through a configuration file, which is this one here, and it will look for each of these entries is basically a virtual machine. So the heading is the name of the virtual machine. Then we've got the type, so in this case all of these are the type VM. In the future iteration of this script, I'm going to give it the option to either create a VM, QEMU, or an LXC container. You can also allocate the amount of RAM, so in this case for this virtual machine it's 4 gigabytes, the amount of virtual CPU cores, and I'm actually going to put in an option to ensure these are protected or not, so that when we run the script in future with further updates, if the VM or the container is marked as protected, it will never get deleted. Okay, then just going to scroll down. So yeah, we've got Rocky Linux 9.1, or sorry, not Rocky Linux 9, Rocky Linux 8, we've got Alma Linux, and you can see all of these are up and running here as well. So each of these is a virtual machine. I'm just going to take a look to see if any of these have been configured differently. So Fedora 36.1 has been configured with 6 gigabytes of RAM and 6 CPU cores. Now recently I believe Fedora 37 might have been released, so I'm just going to take a calculated risk, and this is unscripted. I've not tried this before, and put in an entry for Fedora 30. Just try and see if there's a Fedora 37 available on the image repository. So I'm just going to create that there, put in Fedora 37. Let's give that 2 gigabytes of RAM. No, actually, you know what, give it 5, and give it 8 CPU cores. And then what I'll do is, if it works, great. If it doesn't, well, at least I tried. So I'm just going to run the script again. So Linux stack py. So this is the actual script. Yeah, you'll see some errors in relation to linting because the lines are too long. So I'll look at sorting that out in a future iteration of the script. The script is actually available on GitHub, which I'll post in the description box below. So let's go ahead and run this. This will actually take a while to run. Okay, so the script is running. If it detects a VM already exists, it's actually going to shut it down and reconfigure it. Yeah, I need to put in some logic to say, okay, if the configuration is the same, just leave it alone and move on to the next one. So this one's actually shutting down the VM and it's going to reconfigure it. So the reason it does that is I can actually increase the amount of RAM or decrease it, and the same for the CPUs. And when the script runs, it will basically just do that. So it's quite a simple script at this point in time, but it's the start of a project I'm actually working on going forward. So we'll just wait for this to run. And while it does that, let me bring up a terminal. So I've got item up and running as well. So here we go. Yep, so you can see I'm running glances. This is showing you how the CPU and memory is performing. It's basically not that utilized at all. Here on the right hand side you can see the processes, so the process for each of the QEMU virtual machines. Okay, so for me, when getting started with virtual machines, and it depends on where you are in your journey when it comes to IT, or when it comes to learning about IT. If you're used to Windows, then Oracle VirtualBox is your best bet. If you're running directly on Linux, such as I am in this case, I do prefer QEMU because I will get a lot more better performance out of that. And I find it easier when it comes to actually creating virtual machines via scripting and automation. But there's nothing wrong if you want to learn to use virtual machines on Windows using Oracle VirtualBox. That's more than perfectly fine as well. I find that a lot more manual though, and a lot more slower, but it's a perfectly fine approach to take because I do have Oracle VirtualBox on Windows too. So let's go back to VS Code and see how it's doing. So there we go. Yep, it's still running. And this will take a while to run because I put in, for each of the virtual machines, I've actually put in a 10-second delay as well, which you can see here, time.sleep 10 seconds. Yeah, so the reason I put in a 10-second delay as well is just to protect the hardware from getting overloaded as well. So, because I keep a close eye on the hardware especially when I'm automating this type of work. So, I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller because I've got temperature sensors on this machine as well, if it lets me. So, just going to maximize that. Yeah, so I'm just looking at the overall temperature, and it's running extremely cool at 39 degrees Celsius in total. So it's not too bad, and it doesn't look like, we're not hitting that much of the CPU or the memory there. Okay, it's now found a Debian virtual machine, so yep, it's going to shut that down, reconfigure it with the same amount of RAM and CPU, and start it up again. Let's go back to the terminal. There we go. Yeah, so you can see on the right hand side, which is the load average, so that's looking good. Yeah, this has got 16, so it's actually got 8 cores and 2 threads per core, which is showing up as 16 cores in this, in this tool, which is fine. And this is actually a physical machine as well, so I installed Ubuntu 22 directly onto hardware. So while this is still running, I'm going to talk about a future project I've got in mind coming up over the next few weeks. So I've ordered another mini PC, and this one's going to have the same processor, but it's going to have a dedicated GPU as well, so it won't be an iGPU. And I'm actually going to record a series of videos on that. So I'm going to use I've got a HDMI capture card, so I'm going to connect it to HDMI capture card and go through the process of watching it start up from BIOS, watching it boot into Windows, configuring Windows 11, which I believe will come with Windows 11 Pro. I will shrink that partition down so that I could use it to dual boot into Ubuntu 22. I'll go through that installation process directly on physical hardware using the capture card, install Ubuntu, and this is going to be more of a case of me just showing what's possible with Linux. If you're interested in learning about Linux, I'll be setting up as a desktop, showing you some basic usage, web browsing, internet, maybe seeing how Office looks via a web browser. I will also look at installing Steam on it, because I know a lot of people like to play games on Windows PCs and they use Steam. But I'll go through the process of showing you how Steam works on Ubuntu using a Windows compatibility layer called Proton for people that might be interested. So that's going to be several videos being recorded over a space of a few weeks or a couple of months, because I'm extremely busy in my spare time as well. And I'll put that out there. I did post a video a few months ago talking about the Linux versus Windows versus Mac, and to be honest with you, I like all three. I've got no qualms. I'm not going to tell someone to use Linux for the sake of using Linux. It basically depends on your use case. The reason I'll be recording those videos is on Ubuntu on that new mini PC. It's just to show what's possible, and if anyone else is interested. And I'm not going to wipe my Windows installation clean. It will just be shrinking it so that I've got the choice of using both Windows and Linux on that new mini PC. Right, just going back to this, so I can see Fedora 37 is on the image repository and it's been downloaded. And just go back to the configuration file. I do think we allocated 5 gigabytes of RAM and 8 CPUs. So let's see how that looks once it's up and running. And go back to the terminal, see what it's doing. Yep. Yeah, it's not being utilized. So I'm actually considering, if I go to the stat script, maybe just reducing the wait time from 10 seconds to, I don't know, maybe 5. Yeah, reduce it to 5 seconds. Okay. And for this one, when it's reduce that to 5 seconds there as well. So I'm not going to actually go through a walkthrough of the scripts. Yeah, it's the first video I've recorded in months, literally, to be honest with you. Just been extremely busy with a lot of things going on. And yeah, this is the first Saturday evening I've had spare to myself, so I decided to record a video. But it is quite late, and yeah, I'm not in the mood to walk through this script, but I will do in the future. I can do in the future video if anyone wants me to walk through it, but it's quite straightforward. I will actually completely rewrite this from scratch as well in the near future, because I believe a lot of the code here is not needed. I could actually use a Python module for LXD, so I'm looking into that and use that instead of basically reinventing the wheel myself. go back to the terminal. Let's see what it's doing. Let's run LXC list. Get all those virtual machines up and running. So let's while we're waiting for the last one to be created, let's look at one of them. I'm gonna pick Alma Linux 9, so let's do LXC exec. I think it's LXC exec. Alma Linux 9. I should just open up a bash shell. Okay, and I typed in the name wrong, so let's try that again. Okay, we're in. So this is Alma Linux 9. Just going to type in top. Yeah, so you've got 4 cores, just shy of 4 gigabytes of RAM. Let's quit out of that. Let me make it bigger. Let's make the text bigger. Okay, so the clear command's not found, not a problem. Let's do etc. OS release. Yep, Alma Linux 9. Do we have Emacs installed? One of my favourite CLI text editors. No, we don't. So let's install it. Let that install. So it's downloading the packages for Emacs. I'll just fire it up once it's installed. Awesome. Let's run Emacs. Yep, Emacs is installed. Awesome. Okay, let's quit out of that machine. Just type in LXC list. Okay, looks like it's still creating Fedora. Yep, it looks like it's still retrieving. Yeah, it's still downloading the data. It does say it's at 100%. Yeah, I did notice this was quite slow for me today as well for some reason. It's not as quick as it was when I first tested it earlier this morning. So it could be just the repositories are slow right now. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to pause the recording and I'll get back to you once this is finished. Okay, I've now started the recording again. All of the virtual machines have been created, they are up and running, and here we can see Fedora 37. So let's take a look at Fedora 37. So I'll go to the terminal, glances. Oops. Right. So LXE list, LXE exec, Fedora. Oops. 37. Another bash shell. Right. We are in. If I go to the top. Yep, you can see just shy of 5 gig. How many processors? Yeah, we got about 8 showing up. Okay, let's do an OS update. Wonder if it works. No, it don't. Okay, never mind. DNF update -y. And yep, we just wait for it to download. Yeah, I mean, the repositories for Fedora are a bit slower, to be honest with you, I noticed, than the other OSs. I don't really use Fedora that much myself. For me, it's mostly either Ubuntu these days. I do use Red Hat a lot, and I have done in the past in my previous roles, and I do have Red Hat. I've actually got a Red Hat developer license and I have Red Hat VM set up on my other machine as virtual machines. Got a lab there using Ansible. But for this, I guess, for this, I would probably choose Hammer Linux 9 or Rocky Linux 9, one of the two. I haven't made my mind up yet. So I've got some future projects that I'll be working on over the next few months, going into next year. And that's going to be interesting. And I'll try and also learn, and every time I learn something, teach it, record a video on it as well, and provide for further information. Okay, so that update is done. I'm now going to go back to VS Code. Now I just want to go through the process of, just show you the process of tearing down the lab, then recreating it again. So what I'm going to do is I've got this script here which is tear down lab, and it will basically just find every single, just run that. Just run that. We'll just basically look for every single instance that is running, whether it's a virtual machine or a container, and delete it. So it's found them. It's giving me a big warning. I'm typing yes because I wanted to delete it. It's giving me 10 seconds grace time with a timer to say it's going to destroy the lab, and I can always stop it here if I want to, but now I want to destroy it, so there it go. Yep, it's going to delete each of them one by one. I need this, I need some caffeine. Okay, so we've got no virtual machines left. Let's go back to the stack, linux_stack.py script. Okay, so okay, yeah, I'm just checking the repository as well. Yes, basically I've made some changes, so I'm gonna upload that to Git later today. Right, anyway, so let me run that script again. Let's see how long it takes now. I've reduced the delay from 10 seconds to 5 seconds. All the images from the remote repository now should be cached locally, so this should be a lot quicker, I'm hoping. Yes, it is. Yeah, it's a lot quicker. And while that's running, I'm just going to check on the resource usage. Go back to the item. Okay, yep, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Okay, let's get that run. Yep, so we can see the first two have been started there. See, I can see 3 now. I can see 3 VMs in there now. Okay, yeah, so it's gone a lot quicker now, which is good. Okay, did I forget to put my headphones on? Right, let's try this. Okay, I've got my headphones on. Okay. I don't know if it's picked up me talking. We'll see when I watch the video back after this is finished recording. Oops, never mind. to be honest with you, I don't know why I'm got these headphones on. I might as well just listen to some music or something while it's doing this. So I've got a confession to make. I haven't actually done any work on these scripts for about, I don't know, nearly a few months now. So yeah, I might need to renew my token on GitHub. So let's have a look. If that's the case, I'll do that offline while I'm not recording. Okay, the lab has been set up. It will display it shortly. Yeah, so that was a lot quicker. Okay. Yeah, and it's still not displaying the IP addresses for Fedora 37. So let's run an LXC list again, and we are now seeing it now. Okay, so yeah, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your time. If you got to the end of this video, I'm sure it must have been really boring for you. I'm actually going to upload this video to YouTube. And if I do suffer from sleep deprivation or insomnia, I will be watching this video back to help me to get back to sleep. But the reason I recorded this video was just to get back into recording videos again after being basically not doing it for a few months. And yeah, just got to get into the habit. Please subscribe to my channel if you like my content. I know you won't like this video, which is fair enough because I don't. But I'm hoping the other ones are better, that you like them better. If you wish to be notified when I upload further videos in future, then yeah, just hit the notification bell. Please feel free to post some comments if you have any further video ideas, anything you wish to say. I'm always happy to take constructive criticism. I haven't been unfortunate enough to receive any criticism yet. That's because no one probably watches my videos apart from a very select few people who I appreciate and value a lot. And I think they're absolutely fantastic, and I thank you for your support. You know who you are, all of you. But yeah, the reason I'm making these videos is I'm just trying to help people, trying to learn, and when I learn, trying to pass on what I learn to other people, and just trying to give back. I've been in the industry for 22 years now. Feels like a long time, in many different roles, and I always love giving back, always love teaching people, always love helping junior engineers out. I get a lot of satisfaction from that. So anyway, thank you very much for your time wherever you are. It's now Saturday 11 PM, just gone 11 PM in the UK. So hope you're all doing well, hope you're all great, and hope to see us all soon.